I like being terrible at things. I mean, I don't, but if I can loosen up enough to be terrible at something, I like it. It's enjoyable. And I think that we need to bring that idea into our writing. Welcome to How to Write Good. I am your host, Daniel Poppie. You can find out more about me at danielpoppie.com. If it is your first time here, How to Write Good is a writing podcast that seeks to find principles and advice that can be applied across a broad range of writing situations. If you've been here before, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button below, and share. So a lot of writers don't begin or end their books because they want the perfect book. And I've talked about this idea in the past, how there are no perfect words. And in the end, there's really no perfect book either. You're never going to get to the perfect words. You're never going to have the right words to say a specific thing. And the reason why I say that is because words are abstractions. Words are things in our heads. The real world is not a thing in our head. We do understand the real world based off of words and different things going on in our heads. But we can't, at least I don't think we can represent the world perfectly accurate, or perfectly accurately, I believe, with words themselves. I think they don't reach the point where they are actually perfectly representational. I think they do a very good job, but I say that you can't have a perfect sentence to explain something because you can't actually have the right words, because the right words don't exist, because it's impossible for the right words to exist. The only way you could actually have the right words existing is if you were a god of some sort, or God, and you could speak things into existence. And I think that's where kind of the rubber meets the road. That's what would have to be the case if your words could actually describe something in a way that it actually is. Bit convoluted, but I hope that makes sense. So I think writers are obsessed with being perfect. I think they're always obsessed with finding the exact same thing. Some of them talk about, I move a comma around. I do not understand that mindset anymore. At one point, I was terrified of showing people my writing. At one point, I was worried. And then I've got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I just got to put stuff out into the world. I don't have time to worry about this comma right here. I've got what I need. I need to move forward with it. Now, it isn't because I don't care. It's because, to a certain degree, you have to get something done. If you want to be a writer, right, you can write. If you write, you are a writer. If you want to be an author, or if you want to be a professional author where you get paid for your writing and that's what you live off of, if you want to do those things, which people often conflate with writing itself, you have to get something done. And if you are a perfectionist, you may get something done, but it is going to be a lot less than someone who is not a perfectionist. And what if it is the case that you get something done as a perfectionist and it actually isn't as good as you thought it would be, right? You've gotten to the point where you've written as well as you can. You think it's perfect and it's not well received. Nobody cares about it. Nobody actually thinks it's good. What if you get to that point? Well, then you've spent all this time in your room without testing the waters to see what people like, to see what people react to see what moves people, gets to their heart. You haven't been able to do that. So for all you perfectionists, here is your permission to be bad. Actually, here is your admonishment to be bad. If you're like, I don't want to be bad, here is me saying, go out and actually be bad. Try it out. Seriously, try out being bad. See how it works. See what happens. See if you have fun. See if you have different ideas that you wouldn't have had before. Writers are in a weird situation, right? Because writers know what bad writing is. Most writers can recognize bad writing, or to a certain degree. Most bad writers know when they see bad writing and they pull back and they're like, ugh, or at least they know what they don't like. So they try to avoid what they don't like. They try to get to a point of perfection. But to be a good writer, to have good ideas, to get in that state of flow, you actually have to let loose a little bit. You have to hold on enough, but you have to let loose to allow yourself to play and to do different things and to try different things out. Because if you're so tight in that area of writing, your mind is not doing what it needs to do to be a good writer. You can create something that looks like good writing. It might even sound like good writing to a certain degree. Without that creative side of your mind, but I think it's going to be less valuable if you do. So here's your permission to be bad, because you need to be bad before being good. You need to be bad before being good. Think about a baby. A baby doesn't even crawl. A baby doesn't even roll over. A baby is bad at rolling over at first. And then a baby gets better at rolling over. And then a baby learns to crawl poorly, then learns to crawl very well, then learns to stand poorly, then learns to walk poorly, then learns to walk very well. Your entire life is a string of you getting better. You start bad and you get better. It is a string of instances where you were bad and you got better. So I would encourage you not to wait for the best idea in the world, because the best idea might never come. The best idea might be what you have in your hand right now. I don't really know. But don't wait for the perfect idea. Don't wait for the perfect ability to write. If you love writing, or if you want to be a writer, or let's rephrase that, if you want to write professionally, just write and write and write. Go out and do something. Go out and do something good. Get more experiences. Read more books. Finish your book instead of finishing the perfect book. Because even if you think you've finished the perfect book, you haven't finished the perfect book. There is no such thing as the perfect book. And somebody can pull up a book and be like, hey, this book's essentially perfect. It's like, no, I will find some issue that I have with that book that I do not like, that I think should have been changed. So at least in my eyes, it wasn't perfect. And if you are critical enough, you can find something wrong with anything. Just go to YouTube. You can find people who will rip apart anything on YouTube. It's just telling you that not everything is perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect book. There's no such thing as a perfect story. But what if it is bad? What if I make something that is terrible? So what? So what? What does it matter? Like, some people who know you might be like, ooh, they made something bad, but you need to get over that fact that somebody's going to think what you've written is bad. It might be bad. You might even need to be bad to be good. Like I said before, in writing, you might actually need to be bad first before you get good. What I was saying before is also extremely important. When you are bad, when you allow yourself to be bad, it frees you up and makes you more relaxed. And in writing, in anything creative, you need to take risks. Sometimes you don't know if something's going to be good. Sometimes you don't know if something's going to flop. I think as you get better, as you get more experience, you know what's going to work and what isn't. And that's probably why some people lose their spark, because they know what's going to work, they know what isn't, so they stick within their wheelhouse and they never reach outside of it. But if you never try anything, if you never try anything new, you're going to fail, right? If you always stick in your wheelhouse, you're never going to find those creative ideas. You're always going to stick with what's comfortable. And this is the ironic thing about writers, is a lot of writers are introverts, or a lot of writers want to stick within their comfort zone, when in reality, you've just got to get out of your comfort zone. You've got to get out of your comfort zone. Too bad you don't like talking to people. I don't really care. I don't like talking to people either. You get out, talk to people, interact with people, show people your stuff. Somebody might hate it. Somebody might love it. And if somebody hates it, you can figure out why. And if somebody loves it, you can figure out why. And that's going to help you be a better writer. It's going to help you try new things out. You've got to get used to that idea that you're trying again and again and again and again, despite your failure. One thing that I've been thinking about recently is one of the biggest lies in life is that you need to play everything safe. You shouldn't be stupid. I don't think you should be stupid in life. I think you should think through your actions. You should determine what is a good risk and a bad risk. But if you play everything safe, you'd never drive a car. You'd never go anywhere because it's very risky to go out in a lot of cases. People will freak out for everything. There is risk in life, though. Even if you don't do anything, even if you are Emily Dickinson, I think it's her, and you hide away in a house and you write poetry, you are going to be at risk for something. You are going to put yourself at risk because of the fact that you don't have anybody around you to help you. One of the biggest lies to young people especially is that they need to play it safe, right? As you get older, you do need to play it more safe, and you realize that you do, but when you're young, you have so much opportunity. You have so much energy, and You might need to play it a bit riskier. I'm not saying gamble with your life, but I'm saying with the choices you make. You might need to try something that you would have otherwise not tried because you might never have the chance to do it. I especially think this is the case with careers. If you're like, man, I really want to do this with my life, maybe you want to try it out. Maybe you want to see where it goes. I'm not a fan of jumping out of airplanes, right? So I don't think you should take needless risk. But most of the risk we think is bad risk is actually something we need to go out and do. Most of the risk we're just scared of doing and we don't want to do it. But I think that we need to take that risk. And in life, risk is necessary. We take risks every single day. You just have to figure out which ones are worth taking. So be a fool, take a risk. Write badly. That's what I think you should do. If you enjoyed this podcast and you want to support me, there's really one simple thing you can do. You can go to danielpoppie.com/newsletter and sign up for my newsletter. And when you sign up, you'll actually be able to get access to my publication roadmap. So that's everything I have planned for pretty much every project I have into the next decade. Again, that is danielpoppie.com/newsletter. You can also find the link below.